What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are continuing our Sunday simulation series, this time taking over control of the Philadelphia Phillies in an effort to turn them into a World Series winner. Now, where we last left off, as we click in here, we're 9.5 games out of the division standings. When it comes to the wild card hunt, we're 3 games out of that third and final spot. So there's a whole lot right now that we have to try to do with this squad. We have to try to improve in many different ways. So let's take a look real quick at the lineup that we have. So not a lot of things to brag about in terms of the production here. It's all pretty solid, but nothing, that truly stands out as truly overwhelming, other than the performance of Alec Boehm right now in terms of batting average. We have a team that is capable of being extremely great, but it just hasn't seemed to really click for us. Obviously, we'd like a little bit more off the bench. We did add Taylor Ward on the very first episode to try to help out that bullpen a bit, but the reality is that we're in a position right now where this team is struggling. So we're going to try to make some changes here and see if we can't get some things going. So we are a few days away from the trade deadline, so I'm actually going to sim through a couple of days here and kind of see how things go. We're back to also having to figure out what's going on with our draft picks. So we only have a couple left in terms of getting ourselves squared away here. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is that we're going to try and sign this reliever. So we're going to offer him a contract. So let's see. All right, let's go ahead and offer. He's decided to sign. Perfect. All right. And now we have one left. Now we can offer him a contract right now, but we're gonna give it another few days here to try to make that happen. And let's go ahead and clear these out. Okay, so we definitely need some improvements. Now the thing is, let's take a look at our pitching staff. So 2 of our 5 starters could definitely use some help. We did pick up Spencer Turnbull as well. A couple of arms in the bullpen need some help here. 2 of our lefties are not picking up the pace. So let's see. The situation is that we don't really have a ton of need. There isn't a whole lot that we have in terms of space available or potential places of improvement where we can make those changes. We're going to try and see here about Loiza's having a really good time of it. So now the thing is that in order to acquire these kinds of talents, it's not easy or cheap in terms of getting these things kind of situated and really trying to be able to find a deal that's more so going to benefit us than anything else. But right now we don't really have that option. So not trying to go too crazy. Yeah, and this will affect their budget to the point where they can't make that move. So, all right. I mean, we're kind of in a position where we kind of have to hold steady. All right, so we're back to being able to sign our draft pick. Let's offer him a contract. Let's get him to 60% interest, and he's decided to sign. Perfect. All right, so that's done. We've signed all of our draft picks. We can have some potential conversations here in terms of our potential extension candidates. So definitely want to see. Now, the one guy that I really want to make sure we make a valiant effort is going to be Nola. Now, I want to offer him less money. So let's see if we can't get this to like 27 a year, but we make it a 9-year deal with a team option. All right, he's not going to go for that. Let's see if we can raise the deal just a tad. All right, so we're gonna go 252 on a 9-year offer with a player option, and he'll sign it. Perfect. So now let's see, where does that put our budget next year? Okay. Now the thing with these contracts, these opportunities here, let's see, what is Reese looking for? An everyday role. Actually, well, he's not really interested in that. But let's give him a player option, and we'll bump it to 6. Let's go 7 years at 48. And cool. All right. So we've been able to lock in our first baseman and our ace. So we're good there. Got to try to see if we can't get a reliever. Let's see what teams are not in a postseason push. So obviously the Nationals, the Reds, Pirates. I wonder, yeah, let's see if we can't engage in some conversation here for David Bednar. And let's see what it would take. So this reliever gets us pretty close. See if we can't double up on something here. Actually, I want to see if maybe one of these players, Jake Cave, alright, so alright, let's see. And okay, so Jake Cave gets us really close, and let's see if one of these can just kind of put us over the top. And see if we can't acquire ourselves a lights out closer, which would allow us to kind of lengthen the bullpen a bit, move some guys out of slightly more prominent roles that they have now. And this is not looking like something that's going to happen without giving up way too much. Yeah, see, I'm not trying to give up these guys here. Guess I can give up a all right, I guess all in all, it's not that bad a deal to have to give up those guys. All right, let's make this happen. Now, obviously, our roster is overdone, but we're just going to drop. Yep. And let's head to the rotation. We're going to move these guys up top. Cool. All right, that should help lengthen the bullpen a little bit. Let's see. Okay. So things are not going quite well right now. That being said, we're 11 games out of the division, behind the Marlins of all teams. It's crazy. But 2 games out of the wild card, so that's the spot where we are now. All right, and let's go ahead. We got all of our picks signed, so that's good. Now, okay. So we're now going to put ourselves in a position where we're just going to jump ahead, fast forward to the end of August, see kind of where things land for us. It has not been a good season thus far for Philadelphia. We're now down to 8 games, but now the Braves have taken over. In the wild card, we've fallen back to 5 games out of that 3rd spot, and really the 4th spot, because if we look here, the Mets and Marlins are, or the Mets and the Diamondbacks are both tied for that spot. So one of them will have to kind of make some adjustments there. So we have to make a couple of call-ups. So I'm going to go ahead and call up Cody Clemens, because why not? And we'll call Nelson back up. Okay, so we're now going to go ahead, we'll fast forward through these couple of weeks. Josh Harrison, great, he's out for 1 to 2 months. Put him on the 10-day, but now we got to add somebody else to the roster. So let's go ahead and add in Derek Hall. All right, so we'll add in Hall. 6.5 games out of the division, 3 games out of the 3rd wild card spot. So we have a couple of really tough series here. We're facing off against our division opponents. We're going to keep him on the IL because he's hurt. All right, so man, these losses here are going to play out huge. So we've been eliminated from the division. Right now, the Marlins and the Braves have taken postseason spots, and we're 2 games out of the hunt for that 3rd and final wild card spot. And any combination of Phillies losses or Diamondbacks wins are going to further eliminate us, and we've lost. So, yep, that puts us out. We've officially been defeated for this season. All right, so it's going to be back to the drawing board. So we're going to simulate the postseason. The Rangers defeated the Padres in the 2023 World Series. So let's see kind of how these matchups shook out. The Yankees took on the Rangers in the wild card series. The Cubs, the White Sox and the Angels. The White Sox would advance to take on Houston. They would beat them. The Rangers would defeat Minnesota and move on. Texas would then defeat the White Sox. And on the National League side of things, Miami and San Diego. San Diego would advance. St. Louis and Arizona, with Arizona advancing. Then St. Louis and Atlanta, with Atlanta moving on. The Dodgers and San Diego. San Diego moved on. And San Diego will move on to face the Rangers in the World Series. So that's how it all shook out. Our hitting coach has decided to retire. Our pitching coach, his contract is up. There's a lot of changes that have to be made to this roster. So we're going to take a look. Any notable names? So Miguel Cabrera, Zach Greinke, Ian Kennedy, Charlie Morton, Wade Miley, Rich Hill, Jerry's Familia, Nelson Cruz retired, Robinson Cano. All right, so let's just see. Didi, Yuli Gurriel, Dallas Keuchel. All right, so Cano and Cabrera to the Hall of Fame. All right. So we have a couple of players that are on the free agent list. We can tender a qualifying offer of $20 million to these players. The reality is that neither Jose Alvarado, Craig Kimbrell, or Josh Harrison warrant that kind of a money type deal. Alvarado had a terrible season for us. But I'm still going to offer him. Actually, this isn't a bad deal. I might bring this down a little bit. Let's go there. Offer him that. Kimbrel had a decent enough season for us. I'm okay with offering that for now. Harrison. So yeah, I'm not really interested in bringing you back, to be honest. All right, this coaching staff, it's got to go. So let's go ahead and make some wholesale changes here. We're going to go ahead 4 years. We're going to bump this up to $9 million per season. And just to make sure, we're going to go ahead and offer. Now this guy needs way less money, but we're going to go ahead, bump that up. Another one. So we're going to go ahead and we're actually just going to get rid of everyone because we need an entire overhaul on this team. We missed the postseason and that's unacceptable behavior. So got to go ahead and try to bump up our opportunities and our chances. So what better way to do that than to bring in a new coaching staff? We're going to go ahead and so if you've never watched any of the streams that I've done previously, the way I go about our offering contracts to our coaches is I will offer it to a plethora of coaches that all rate out in terms of the position that we're looking at with no negatives. So that's kind of why you see I'm going through and offering a bunch of different ones to different coaches here because I'm trying to maximize what our team is capable of doing, and I feel that if I do that well enough and bring in coaches that are all positive in terms of what they're offering. It gives us the best opportunity to win. So go ahead and look for a couple more. And honestly, whichever ones first do the job are the ones that get the job. So first to accept is first to receive the deal. And then we're going to focus in on the team itself. All right, so for now, let's go ahead. All right, so we've already offered contracts to our exclusives. We've gone through and offered contracts to some new coaches. So let's go ahead. All right, so we got our new farm director, our new manager, first base coach. All right, so we're still waiting on hitting coaches, pitching coach, and third base, but we have tons of them being offered. So we're good on those regards. Go ahead, pitching coach, hitting coach, nice. So all we're waiting on is our third base coach. Now, third base and first base, in case you weren't aware, didn't really play the game, are the same set of coaches. So we're now going to take those ones that didn't get the option and move those selections over. And whichever one takes the job first is the one that gets it. All right, let's stop simulating. We've already offered the contracts that we're going to, and even those might be a little higher than what they should be. All right, so now we are in full-fledged free agency. Obviously, this is the man to go and get, the one to spend the money on. So we're undoubtedly going to offer Shohei a serious contract here. Let's go ahead and 35 for 10. And actually, we're going to go 10 and a player option because that usually gets the deal done. All right. Now, let's go ahead. We have a ton of option contracts to tender out, and typically I will try to go through and knock out the contracts for these players that aren't making much of anything. So these minor league players, and then I'll deal with the guys that have some major league service time, just because it makes it kind of easier to figure out the actual money that's available. And if you've never watched the other streams, typically the way it works for arbitration cases, which we're going to get into in just a moment, if they've played in the major leagues, they don't actually they will win their arbitration cases. If they haven't played in the major leagues that season, they will not. It's typically what I've found to be the case. So we're just going to go ahead and knock these out, because these guys will absolutely sign. Actually, I'm going to lower that. Cool. Go right there with that. Alright, so we want to try and knock these out. So the Phillies actually have a lot of guys on this roster that are receiving major league service time and therefore are entitled to more than the kind of bare bones minimum. So it's going to be quite a few that we're going to have to figure out here as we go through this process. Now, the downside of offering a guy like Shohei so much money is that, as you can see there in our pending offers, we're coming extremely close to our budget limit, and we haven't even gotten into the players that are earning some financial deals in terms of their contract statuses and arbitration and all of that good stuff. So there's quite a bit here. So all of these players that are arbitration eligible are all going to be getting some sort of, massive pay increase. Typically what I will do is I will just offer them back their salary, whatever it is, because like I said, no matter what you offer them, if they played in the majors, they're going to receive the win in that arbitration case, and if they haven't, then the team will win. So that's typically what I've found to be the case. Now, because of offering Shohei the deal that we did, where he's taking up $35 million of our payroll, it is a lot of money that we're now over our projected surplus and available budget. Now, let's finish that off. If we go back, let me see something here. Go the 10 years, the player option, but if we backload it, yeah, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Either way. All right, and we also need to kind of just see what areas we can improve on. So reality is that second base is a place where we can try to improve. Ward did a good job for us, but he really should be not playing center field for us. And the thing is that we really have 3 DHs. When you consider Ward, Schwarber, even Harper isn't listed as good a fielder as I believe he is, Castellanos. So these are all DHs, and you got to put him in the field somewhere. But in reality, I would like to get us a much better center fielder. And obviously, when it comes to the pitching staff, we want to try to improve on this back end here if we can. Now, obviously, bringing in Shohei Ohtani will put him at the top, which will then move Nola and Wheeler down to 2 and 3, which obviously just by default lengthens what we're capable of doing. So that would be a big help to us. I also believe that if we can get a little bit more help in our bullpen, you can't go wrong there. So we'll see how things kind of shake out here. But in terms of bullpen help, Josh Hader's there, but we already have a very good closer. So really, I would just be looking to add some additional help in either middle relief or long relief. Like I said, we want to definitely take a look and see what's available at kind of that second base spot. Ahmed Rosario is a shortstop, but obviously we can move him over to second. He's going to command shortstop type money, so it's actually a really low offer. 3 years, 19 million. What's he looking for a 3-year deal? Yeah. So we'll take a look at that. Blake Trinan doesn't have any offers. Harrison Bader, the Yankees, did not have a good year. I mean, I guess it was on par with what he normally produces. But nothing overly spectacular. Ian Happ is one of my favorite underrated players, especially for his versatility. Max Muncy, Not the greatest of seasons. Now, Adam Duvall is usually a guy that has a terrible batting average, but usually produces, as you can see there. For Boston, 26 home runs, 82 RBIs. Yeah. It's usually an underrated pick there. Jock Peterson, not a good defender, so I really wouldn't want to put him because we already have too many of those corner outfielder types already on the roster. Kike doesn't really hit enough for me. Cody didn't have a great season. All right, so I think if we're going to try to add to our second base help, the only real option is going to be Ahmed Rosario. Outside of that, it's really not going to be a ton of help. I mean, Jose Iglesias could work. He's an okay defender, but he's got a good bat. Not a lot of power, but hit for decent average. I just wonder if we go with Ahmed. Let's offer him a 3-year deal for 21 with a player option and see if he'll bite. Now, again, that puts our pending offers well above 23 million above our available budget, so we'll have to wait and see, because the reality is that if Shohei and our offer is tremendously greater than the Angels offer to re-sign him, but wonder if it wouldn't be better allocated to be able to trying to sign maybe a couple of these other guys instead of one big Shohei Ohtani deal, especially that we already have too many DH types. So, all right, as much as it pains me, we're probably better off looking for some other pitchers to make that impression upon our roster, kind of divvy out the okay, so Michaelis is looking for 2 at 22. Right. Sonny Gray had a good season for the Twins. He's only looking for 4-year deal for 46 mil. See if he won't take 45 for 4. I mean, it's not that much less. Let's see. Let's go 40 for 4. So it's a much better offer than what he's getting from. And I also want to make Sevy a deal. So we're going to go rotation with Severino. Let's go 7 years. Player option, but we're going to lower this. See, let's go 121.5. Actually, since we're the only offer he's got, let's go 6-year deal. Let's go 6 and 96. Oh wait, that's for the ace roll. Alright. So 103.6. Sounds like a radio station. And let's see kind of how those play out for these first couple days. So we got our third base coach. Julio Urias re-signed with the Dodgers, and Felix Bautista re-signed with the Orioles. So most of our guys re-signed on these small minor league deals, so that was to be expected. All right, so we did sign Sonny Gray and Ahmed Rosario. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead, we're going to go and we're going to make Ahmed a second baseman. So, perfect. So we're going to make him our second baseman. Sonny Gray jumps into our rotation, so let's make these moves in lineup and the pitching rotation. All right. So Sonny Gray is going to replace Taijuan Walker. And all right. So I think Ranger Suarez is going to be much better than what he showed. So we're going to go ahead and withdraw that offer to Severino. Okay. So those are kind of the main things that we wanted to do. Let's see, as far as maybe some more help in the bullpen. Let's see. So he's not getting, Reynaldo Lopez isn't getting any kind of real offer. But we're going to lower this significantly. Alright, we're going to give him a 2-year deal with a player option. And you're going to go into the bullpen. That one, let me see what kind of year. Not bad. Let's see. Bullpen. If I give you a 3 deal, you can lower it pretty significantly. Okay. Yeah, Hader is going to be a little more than what we're willing to do. So let's go here. Let's take a look. Matt Moore signed with us. So we're then going to relinquish these offers. Withdraw. Withdraw. And withdraw. All right. So we're now in a much better position in terms of our pending offers and our available budget, which is where we want to be, because if there are any moves that kind of come to light throughout the course of the season, we want to be able to make that move. So we also now have a long man in Taijuan Walker. Matt Moore jumps into a setup role for us. All right. So I think that this is the roster we're going to kind of go with. We have to set our 40-man. Now, the way that I go about this process for the 40-man roster is I really go by potential. And with that potential, let's go ahead. I like to double check and make sure that anybody that's an A or B overall potential that is eligible for Rule 5 is on the roster, because it's very important that we make sure we keep these guys. And don't want to subject them to the Rule 5 draft. So it's just a quick check, just to see who has to be added. So The problem is that we already have a full 40. So we're looking at one player thus far. All right, 2 players. Okay, so we have 2 players that we have to figure out what to do with in terms of our 40-man roster. Now we have some guys on the 40 that are D overall potential, so they're definitely not going to get scooped up. So we're going to clear out some of this room here, and we're going to go back to this 40-man roster. We want to make sure that those players that require it, because they are eligible for the Rule 5 draft, get added to the roster. So it should be just 2 relievers here, and we're going to add them. All right, so our 40-man roster is safe. We have offered arbitration to all of these players, and now we have to offer contracts to these guys. So when it comes to these players, in reality, we're at a position right now where all of these contracts are renewable. So if they decide that they don't want to sign the deals that we're giving them, at some point they're just going to get renewed for whatever the major league minimum was, and that's going to be the deal that they get. So typically what I will do is I will go to the first green interest level with these deals that I'm offering, and we'll leave it at that. Because as you can see, with these deals, they're now putting us over in our projected or available budget, I should say. So I'm really not too all that concerned about these guys and how happy or unhappy that they are with the deals that they're being offered, because for the reality of it is that most of these guys are not ever going to be a part of the actual major league roster, at least not by the time we turn the Phillies into a World Series winner. So we're going to go ahead and just offer these contracts out and put ourselves in a position to be ready. All right. So here we go. And all right, so let's go ahead and fast forward a couple of days here. So let's see what kind of news we have. All right, pretty much all of our guys should have re-signed by now. All right, these arbitrations. Go ahead and all right. Okay, here we go. Make sure everybody got offered a deal. Cool. All right, so where we are now, like I said, the Phillies lineup was pretty much set. The reality is that it was important for us to add a second baseman. I really would like to have gotten someone better for center field than Taylor Ward, but the available players for the outfield market, that's kind of center field market, really weren't going to help us. Teoscar is really more of a corner outfielder, and as much as I do like Dale, I think that he's a very good player. I think that right now there's just not really a place for him on this roster. If Duvall is still hanging around at the end I may take a flyer on him because he just produces, man. He produces in a big way. But I wonder, Kike didn't have a terrible season, but he doesn't hit for any kind of real power, and that's kind of what hurts him. But I wonder if see if we can't go 5-year deal with a player option. Yeah, I mean, we're over budget. We're gonna have to make some moves, but let's just kind of see where things shake out for our team. Because we definitely want to finish off this off season, and that can lead us into the 2024 campaign. So we've offered everyone a contract or arbitration. We have, let's just double check this 40-man roster situation once more. These guys are not eligible for the Rule 5 draft. Alright, so that's been set. We've offered contracts to everyone. Cool. If they don't resign, no problem. We'll resign them by force later. Alright, so Kike did end up signing with us. Okay, so that makes a big difference here. And we're going to have to figure out some stuff here, but that's a problem for a later date. So let's go ahead and let's finish off the off season. All right, so all these guys have been dealt with. Arbitration, yeah, I'm really not going to deal with arbitration negotiations. So we have no more offers out there. We're about $12 million over in our budget, so we're definitely going to have to make some moves here because we're over where we need to be. Now, one such player that I'm definitely going to be able to move or try to move is going to be Taijuan Walker. He's making $20 million. That in and of itself should truly get us under where we need to be. But I'm going to wait till much closer to the end of the off season for such things. So Josh Hader signed with the Red Sox 5 years, $55.5 million. CJ Cron, a 2-year, $14.6 to the Pirates. All right, so go ahead. Let's see. Oh, it's the Rule 5. Shohei signed a 10-year, $350 million deal with the Tampa Bay Rays. It almost makes me wish that I had signed him. All right, Rule 5 draft. We're going to take a look. See if there are any players worth picking up. And doesn't seem like it, so all right, simulate to the end here. Just my thing with picking up Shohei, as much as and as talented as he is, we just didn't really have a place for him. We already have way too many DHs in Schwarber, Ward, Castellanos. The reality is Harper doesn't get listed as good a defender as he should be listed, in my opinion. So we already had a ton of guys in that spot. So it's tough. It's tough for me to be able to look at it objectively in terms of where to place him. We're already going to be looking at a platoon situation when it comes to Kike and oh wait, there's no DH with Kike and Ward and Brendan Marsh for the center field job. So there's already a lot of kind of mixing and moving parts on this Phillies roster. So, and it would have been a great help to the rotation, obviously, as well, but just was going to be way too much. Like, we're already going to be over budget. So, you know, I'm going to have to move Taijuan Walker, which is fine because he doesn't really have a place on this squad anyway. The Braves signed Luis Severino to a 4-year, $53.6 million deal. And here are all the arbitration stuff. Yeah. So. Okay. So, Stott gets his contract renewed, and Marsh gets his contract renewed, and we are, yeah, we're well over budget. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move Taijuan Walker for something that is MLB ready. So we're gonna take a look and see what kind of options we have here. Colton Cal, that actually might not be a bad deal. Verdugo, LeMahieu doesn't really help us in terms of the money, so we're going to keep it moving. Yeah, we definitely want to free up some budget space, but also try and improve either our minor league system or our major league side of things with some potentially valuable assets. I do like Nicky Lopez. That might be the move that we end up making here. Now, Jorge Lopez and Nick Gordon is a good move. Yeah. All right, let's keep looking. David Fletcher. I do like Fletcher. He's very versatile. So we definitely want to be able to try to improve in all aspects. Sheffield and Dylan Moore. I like Dylan Moore because he's super versatile, and I think that that could really help out the roster as a whole. Now, granted, I think that it would help more if I was playing the games as opposed to simulating the way that we do on this Sunday simulation series. However, I still think that he's a valuable player to go after. Giovanni Gallegos, Nolan Gorman. And let's go ahead and see. All right, Chris Taylor. Be a good guy to get, but that money is way too much. Joey Bart. All right. So let me see. I think we might go Jorge Lopez and Nick Gordon. You know what? We're going to go Fletcher. Let's make that move. That gets us out of the red. It gives us a valuable asset. And we're going to gonna have to make some moves here with this roster, but should not be too difficult to do. Perfect. All right, so we're now about to head to spring training, and we're in a position now where let's go ahead and let's take a look and sign one of these guys for nothing money. I don't know who I want. All right, let's go Joey Wendell. He's versatile. He's got good speed though. Guess we can bring back Harrison on a depth move for 30K. All right, and sign. All right, so we are now in spring training of the 2024 season, so that's where we're going to leave it off. So this was an impactful and power-packed episode. We would lose out on making the postseason in 2023, but I think we made some decent changes to this roster that were needed to get us over the edge. And I think that this 2024 campaign that we're going to get on episode 3 of the Sunday Simulation Series is going to be one to definitely look forward to. So I want to thank you for tuning in. Make sure you keep it locked in by hitting that subscribe button and the bell for post notifications. Each and every Sunday, we're bringing you the Sunday Simulation Series, where we would take over a team and try to turn them into a World Series winner. As you know, this is the Phillies edition of the Sunday Simulation Series. So I've been having a blast with these, and we're going to keep it going so all season long. So make sure you keep it locked in by hitting the subscribe button. Let me know down in the comments who you'd like to see, what team you would like to see me take over and control here on MLB The Show 2023. So definitely a cool thing to do here as we continue throughout the course of the season. And make sure you follow us on all our social media outlets, on TikTok and Instagram at Baseball Banter Broadcast. You can find me on Twitter at banter_baseball. You can also find our website, laracuenteledger.com, in which we write new articles daily, mostly covering the world of Major League Baseball, but some other areas of interest as well. And of course, if you haven't, check out our merchandise shop, baseballbanterbroadcast.com, where we have a ton of merch and a ton of promo codes you can use to save on repping the channel. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check out the next broadcast when we banter about baseball. Peace.